screen, but it is what it is. Okay, so you can kind of we got it kind of moving already. So we got it worked out. So we'll send this to everybody on YouTube later on. You can see both of us on here. So we want to thank everybody once again for being on. We appreciate you. So they can see you, Minister Morrell. You can't really see the TikTok screen, but they can see you. I kind of gotta do a little weird stuff to see what's going on. But thank you guys. We see you guys on here. How you doing? May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer. And it's in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect tonight's message. Amen. So we're gonna go. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in since we're already running late. This is the one and only, the great, the wise, the awesome, the strong, my big brother, Minister Morrell, on here. And tonight we're going to talk about an accountable man. And so when they talk about accountability as men, he's actually been helping me behind the scenes with some of the stuff with the brothers as well. And he has a great heart, and he himself obviously is a man and has situations that we go through. And accountability is something that we deal with a lot as brothers, as men, as people in general, right? But when I say an accountable man to you, big brother, when I say, like, what is an accountable man to you, or why, maybe even this, why is it important to you to be an accountable man?
All right. Shalom. Shalom, everyone. Thanks for having me, Pastor Kofi. An accountable man. I believe an accountable man is, why is it important? I think it's very important for our diaspora, as well as I would say it's important also for SOC. An accountable man is a leader. So when I think of an accountable man, I look at someone that's he's essential for society, accountability. You know, that accountable man is essential for society. I look at I can look at it as far as, how can I put it? I'll say there's certain ways to look at it. I'll say, for one, he's responsible.
Mm-hmm.
He's responsible. Doesn't make excuses. Mm-hmm. When he puts his name to something, he sees it through to the end, no matter what. He's also a great leader. He's also, I'll say, he's emotionally disciplined to where, as an accountable man, I'll see the objective through. Mm-hmm. And I'll also help those who are under me that I'm leading. I'll help them as well. Not so much as chastising, but I'll get the best out of them in the best way possible to make them better and help us all to succeed and fulfill the mission that we're on. I guess an accountable man also is someone that, well, I know this for a fact. When I know accountable men that I've run across, they don't look for accolades. What they do from the heart. They're being, like I'll say, even the men here, the brothers that I've known here in SOC, the things that they do is they're being led by the Spirit. So they do from the heart. They do what the Spirit leads them. So it's not about praise. It's not about self-gratification. It's more so about the betterment of the people around them and the people under them. And more so important, you know, they're doing the work of the Most High. So I think that's one of those things that, you know, some of the things that to me are what an accountable man is. Also, like I said, also, most importantly, I think I just touched on it, is they're doing the work of the Most High when you come from a spiritual perspective, you know. You have different ways of looking at it. People in the world, they look at it as, I guess, an accountable man is someone that pays bills, go to work, and what have you. And I'm not discounting that as nothing, but I'm just saying on a spiritual level, you're held to a different and a higher standard. You're held to a different, higher regard. You know, you're like, you are a leader of men. You are a leader. You are, as a minister myself, I'll say personally, as far as me being accountable, I have excuse me. I have to conduct myself in a certain manner. I have to also be a proclaimer of the word. I have to give this word, and I have to protect this word. I have to spread this word around. I have to protect the people that are a part of SOC. You understand what I mean? I have to also be able to, if need be, I need to be able to be pulled to the side and held, and take responsibility for whatever I may or may not have done, and not taking offense to it, but also take it and use it to do better for the benefit of the whole diaspora, the whole group of people, opposed to just myself. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I like what you said about being emotionally accountable too, because a lot of us are emotionally imbalanced. We weren't even taught really, a lot of us, how to deal with emotion, and something that happens with us with age is that we realize, a lot of rage that's inside, a lot of not forgiving, and things like that. And also, if I'm be the head of household, I have to take everybody's emotion into play sometimes, and even though I have an emotion, sometimes I even have to know sometimes how to curb that a little bit and realize that, like, my wife's got emotion, my child's got emotion, my family's got emotion, and this and that. And one thing I always say about emotions, or how somebody feels, even if how you feel is not based off of something that's correct, I always say how somebody feels is how they feel. So
Right.
I even have to be able to take that into account and say, okay, well, how you feel is how you feel in this moment. Even if I don't agree
Yeah.
with why you feel, I have to be able to label how, or I have to be able to label, okay, that's how you feel. That's what it is. This is what is going on, et cetera. And I'm sorry, while we're going on, I got to always take time out to say, thank you, babe, for being on. My wife, the Honorable Maya, who's on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest. Thanks for being on. You can check her out at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Thanks for being on, babe, and love you very much. So even an accountable man, even that's an accountable, right? But I have to be emotionally in a space to where I can even account for. So, like, even being accountable, able to account, I also have to ask myself, am I able to account for others? So I think that's something. So I love the fact that you mentioned that, as far as even being emotionally accountable.
Absolutely. I'm also learning to doing just reading, doing a little research on it too. That we actually need accountability. What was the scripture? I'm sorry, it kind of lost it. I think it was Matthew 12,
Mm-hmm.
36. That I'm paraphrasing. Forgive me. Uh, at some point, we're all gonna have to be accountable to on Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for the we have to be accountable on Judgment Day for the words. I'm sorry, forgive me for paraphrasing. For the certain words that we speak,
Oh
basically.
yeah. If you don't mind, I'll read it. I got it
Yeah,
up. Matthew
please.
chapter 12, verse 36. It says, "But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment." And then I
Absolutely.
like the next verse too. So it's because it says, "For by the words thou shalt be justified, and by the words thou shalt be condemned."
Yes, sir.
Mm.
See, and that right there for me says a lot. I mean, that goes in hand, like we were just saying earlier. How I carry myself as a minister, with the title as a minister. How I carry myself. I'm very much aware that through what I do, it carries a lot of weight as far as how I'm excuse me, how I'm perceived and what have you. I'll
Mm-hmm.
give you an example too. I didn't get a chance because I was coming in. I came in kind of late, just doing a little run. I was just to everyone else give accounts as to what
The fasting.
the fast did for them
Mm-hmm.
personally. And for me, the fast, I'll just be brief with it. The fast for me, it helped me to be more centered, and I prayed more, believe it or not.
Mm.
Because I fasted before, not for spiritual reasons. I fasted more so because of sports and things like that. I'm sorry, I always go back to that. Forgive me, y'all. But
I mean, it's part
I
of your
fasted.
experience, yeah, brother.
Yeah, I fasted as far as sports, whatever, get in shape for sports, whatever, and all that. So I was familiar with intermittent fasting. But on a spiritual level, it's more different because what I found myself doing, I was praying more.
Mm-hmm.
I was for that week, believe it or not, anything that I'm usually I mean I can be aggressive when I'm driving because I drive for I drive to earn a living, but I was more calm during my fast. I was more centered. I prayed more. I was even, believe it or not, may sound crazy to you, a couple of times throughout that week, I was giving myself a little sermon to myself. Well, I'm in the vehicle, I'm driving, but I'm giving myself a sermon. I'm just getting, I'm putting that time in there. I mean, I'm filling that time where I'm probably thinking about, I don't know, the flesh. I'm praying, and I'm also giving myself a word for myself to help myself get through it. But I'm also more calmer. You understand? I was more in tune with myself. And that reflected also to where I was dealing with other people. So that was me being accountable for my own actions. That fast helped me with that. But not to get too far off track with that. I'm sorry about that. Also being accountable to me is one of the things I really take to heart is being disciplined, because as a man, we sometimes we got this thing about, I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
We sometimes forget that although we may be, in our minds, we may be free. We're free to some degree, but we're really not. We may want to do what we want to do, opposed to what the Father has in store for us to do. We take it upon ourselves to, guide our own direction or what have you, and we get lost. And that accountability from the Father. It helps to keep us in check. It disciplines us. It keeps us disciplined on a regular basis as well. That's easy for us to, as men, we sometimes get ahead of ourselves. I think also too, when you're accountable, again, I said earlier, you do what's best for those who are with you as well. I was thinking about, I think about SOC a lot. I think about, this is just me, I think about the vision of where we're going to be in 5-10 years, what have you. And I see it vividly. This is me. And I think about the men of SOC, and as we grow, I think about the new brothers that are coming on as well. And our roles as men of SOC, these are going to be prominent roles. We're going to be functioning as a community, as a community, as a collective, as a Yahweh's people. So therefore, we're going to have to lead by, we're going to have to change a lot of ourselves. Of course, we know that. But we're going to have to really, I'll say, what's the word I'm looking for? Carry out. When we speak of living in what we believe, we're going to have to really carry that out every single day.
Yeah.
Not for just ourselves, though. We're talking about the people under us. We're talking about the women, the children, the elderly, whatever. This is what I'm envisioning, what SOC is going to be in time. This is what I'm envisioning over time. And the men are going to have a very prominent role. I understand, sisters, I'm not diminishing your role. I'm just saying men, as leaders of this diaspora, we're going to have a more prominent role. And speaking of that, I look at, speaking about our diaspora, I look at, you see, you know, you've been in the inner cities. You see what it's like. And I'll be brief on this. I won't take too much of time. We've seen a young kid, young man, and I'm not singling out boys over girls, but I'm just using young boys because
we're talking about men. Yeah, we're talking about men. Yeah.
Yeah, I see the young boys, and I see these guys, and I look at the young boys today, and how they're coming up because they really don't have that direction. There was a time where they used to always say, if you don't ever see a man, you never grow up to be a man. That was always said to me as a kid. I didn't have the luxury of having a male around, but I was around males. My mother did her job, but at the same time, my mother couldn't really raise me to be a male, because you and I, we both know that a young man is supposed to go off with his father at a very early age. He's supposed to be on his father's wing from on his mother. Therefore, what happens is, in my opinion, when it's like that, you're kind of missing something because you don't have the balance. But you're missing that male upbringing. Yeah, the mother can bring you up to be a man or whatever you look. But I think the makeup of a man is more than just muscle, loud, and rah-rah, a bunch of noise. A man knows how to walk away from a fight opposed to indulge in a fight. A man knows how to seek the better good of everyone opposed to himself and not think twice about it. That's an accountable man to me. So that is missing from our diaspora, to where a man will reach out to that boy. Doesn't necessarily have to be of any relation to him, whatever. He'll reach out to him because he sees this boy going in the wrong direction. This child going in the wrong direction. He wants to help to redirect him. Like for me personally, one thing I would love to do, if it ever gets to that point to where, and I think it will get to that point, I really do, where we will come together and, like we talked about before and we talked about earlier, we got different locations. And this is how I think SOC can get. Different locations, different brothers, different people coming in. They're going to be bringing in children. We're gonna get with these children.
Yeah.
And these children, they're gonna come on the SOC. And these children are gonna come on, they're gonna bring friends. And they're gonna come together. And we're gonna come together. And say, for instance, I don't know, somebody say, Brother Morrell, we need you to ride down. I don't know, Brother Joe said, Brother Morrell, come down to Carolina. We got this thing going on with the young men. We're gonna do this little thing with the brothers this weekend or whatever. We need some assistance from you. Just to have help out or whatever, things like that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I understand it's a gradual process, but I'm just saying I see where we can go with this, where the importance of an accountable man, especially in the SOC, how we can really help people out, and help build even more men.
Yeah.
Because right now, a lot of our young men are just they're like in the basket. I mean, you're hearing it on the news. You're seeing it. Now, I'm not talking about the police incident.
Yeah.
I'm not talking. That's different. I'm talking about young men that are out here just misguided and just lost. They're just have no direction. That's where accountable men come into play. That's where I think accountable men come into play as far as that. Even if I see a young man and I don't do something to help him, I think that's part of my responsibility. I'm not saying I got to change his life, but I got to bring something to him. If I got it to give, I got to give it. You know what I'm saying? Even a kind word. Yeah. Somebody's done it for me. So I feel as though that's what I got to do too. That's how I feel about it.
Yes, sir. Yep. And really, that's a great place to leave at a landing spot. There's a lot of positives and a lot of gems my big brother just left for y'all. So we'll leave it there. Like I said, I'm sorry about running late. We had issues going on, but we're glad. So we didn't go on live on YouTube, but we promise I'll have it uploaded for you guys to be able to go see. And maybe we'll even get it on YouTube and things of that nature. But we were able to have it finally, month overdue. Supposed to be due this in December, but we made it happen. So now that we know bare minimum, next time he's on, there'll be no excuses. Bare minimum messenger right on time, and we know that works out. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for being on. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening in. And I got to go ahead and make a couple calls real quick and get ready for class. So those who have class, we'll see in a little bit. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Rising, 8 a.m. Eastern New York time on Kofi_43. If you're on TikTok, if you're watching this later on YouTube, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time there as well. If you're watching from Facebook later, we'll see you there too. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. As always, Yastel, as always, thank you, Minister Morrell, for giving us your time tonight.
Thank you.
As always, thank you to my wife, the Honorable Maya. You can check her out once again on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And to everybody part of SOC, especially tonight, even the brothers, and hopefully even some young brothers that might have heard an encouraging word, we want to remind you as always that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully, wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family, and we will talk to you as soon as possible. Peace. Thank you, Minister Morrell. Appreciate you.
Love you, man.
All right, love you too. Peace.